I have a confession. As you know, a little over 4 years ago, my family and I moved here from the DC area. The house we moved from was a pretty typical cookie-cutter suburban development home. Not a lot of charm, but there were walk-in closets, a big basement, and more space than we needed. But over the 13 years we lived there, we certainly filled it. And when it came time to pack and head west, east from that would be difficult, head west, we discovered that we had 15 tons of belongings. Let me repeat that, 15 tons. That's not hyperbole, it's actual weight. I saw the scale. It may have screamed a little. The sales guy told me he was impressed. Among those 15 tons were everything from a ride-on mower I knew I couldn't use to 100 boxes of books that I knew I could. We had abandoned exercise equipment from forgotten New Year's resolutions, crates of kids' stuff, and enough furniture to fill a small hotel. Packing wasn't moving, it was archaeology. The garage alone could have been a Smithsonian exhibit, quote, late 20th century artifacts, the era of bad clothing decisions and mysterious chords that belonged to nothing. I found a trove of technological fossils, telephones with extension cords, cell phones from when cellular did not mean digital, and half a dozen computers. More than one had a floppy drive. And my favorite throwback, a functioning fax machine. Yeah. At one point, I found this box labeled miscellaneous important things. Upon opening it, I discovered not a single important thing. Just a mix of empty picture frames, pens, pads, and golf balls with the logos of companies that no longer exist, and a portable audio player I hadn't used since the first iPod came out. This box was like opening a time capsule of my past self, one who clearly had issues. One of those issues being a very different definition of the word important. The absurdity of that experience sticks with me, but it also makes me think, why do I hold on to so much stuff? Why did I buy so much of that crap in the first place? Why does this happen to so many Americans? And especially at this time of year, why has getting so thoroughly replaced giving? Christmas, a season meant for hope, peace, and joy, has somehow become a marathon of spending, shopping, and shipping. We outsourced love to Amazon, for whom, if we're just being honest, I'm sure that they think we are never going to realize that we actually pay for all of that free shipping. Look, as much as I deny it, I'm not an idiot. I know my 15 tons of stuff didn't appear overnight or by accident. My family and I were successfully targeted by a carefully engineered system that profits from our constant consumption, our endless acquisition, our perpetual dissatisfaction with what we already have. And while I'm not throwing any of you under the bus today, I know that many of you may be smirking because you are in a similar boat. And so this second Sunday of Advent, I have a question for you. How did we all get here? Personally, I blame capitalism. And that's because capitalism is actually the problem. But the problem with saying that is very much like the problem with Bruno from the movie Encanto, We don't talk about Bruno, and no one really talks about capitalism, and certainly not here in a Unitarian Universalist church. It's not the third rail of theology or anything like that, but it is a fact. A great many folks in rooms like this have won capitalism. We're not Elon Musk levels of annoying, but looking at wealth across the planet, the data clearly shows that UUs are not only more educated, more socially engaged, more interesting, and better looking than other denominations. On average, we're also more well off, or will become so over the course of our lives and careers. We are, in short, the man. When folks out there complain about the man keeping us down, chances are they're thinking about us. But let's back up. Any good indictment ought to first have a heartwarming story, and that's what a true American, and what's a true American story without a little theft, betrayal, and corruption? To be pedantic, just for a second, for those tuning in, capitalism at its core is not a system of government. It's an economic system where people create products and sell them for profit. Easy peasy. It's contrasted with feudalism. And when it's done so, capitalism promises something revolutionary. If you work hard, your future will be better than your past. We know this is the American dream, packaged, ready for purchase. But somewhere along the way, that dream became Black Friday stampedes and billionaire space races. The invisible hand of the market became a fist, demanding endless sacrifice at the altar of efficiency and profit. And there's a downside. Har, har, har. Anyway, somewhere along the way, profit became insufficient, and the profit motive turned into the lure of maximal profit. Maximizing profit isn't about running a business well. It's about taking more and more profit always. As capitalism works, it's supposed to mean better products and lower costs for consumers. But maximal profit means cutting corners, paying workers less, externalizing environmental costs, and designing products to fail so consumers have to buy them again and again. Take light bulbs. Early light bulbs lasted too long, so they were redesigned to fail. Why? So they could sell more light bulbs. The cost difference to make long-lasting light bulbs versus shorter-lasting light bulbs, it's laughable. And that's just one example. When maximal profit extraction is driving every business decision, you learn that it's cheaper to dump toxic waste into rivers than dispose of it responsibly. And you can watch that play out tonight on the 1995 film A Civil Action, which you can stream from Netflix. When profit extraction is driving every business decision, you learn that it's cheaper to dump food in the trash than distribute it to homeless shelters. And you can see that play out today behind every restaurant looking at their dumpster. When profit extraction is driving every business decision, it's easier and cheaper to get sued than to make your products safer, healthier, better, or more reliable. When profit extraction is driving every business decision, we learn that it's cheaper for United Healthcare to deny insurance claims than to pay them, even if that makes people very, very angry. I want to take a big black Sharpie and underline the fact that capitalism actively rewards crappy decisions. Because despite what market libertarians might want you to believe, good and profit are very much not the same thing. This relentless drive for profit has completely transformed our holidays. One familiar critic, Charlie Brown, has been complaining about commercialization since at least 1965. And today, Black Friday is more than just a shopping day. It's a Super Bowl of capitalism, complete with its ever more popular sequel, Cyber Monday. And good news, 2024 set sales records. This year, we bought more tokens to express our love, joy, and personal meaning than ever before. USA, USA. And don't fret, right around the corner, there's another opportunity to shop. That post-holiday, return holiday sales, holiday event, holiday thing, whatever it is. You know, that week or two after Christmas, where you take back the stuff that doesn't work, doesn't fit, doesn't really match your outfit like the online photo said it would. The time in our shopping calendar where stuff goes away. Where away? Who cares? Just send it back to Amazon. Would it matter if I told you that most of the stuff we return to Amazon is not resold? They don't bother repackaging most returned products. They're just discarded. And that's not laziness. Waste isn't an accident. It's baked into their business model. And that means that one of the outcomes from successful commercial retail is trash. During the holiday season alone, we generate an extra 1 million tons of garbage every week. And where does it all go? We export it. America's largest export is trash. And it doesn't go to wealthy places, obviously. It goes to communities already struggling with poverty and environmental degradation. Capitalism is perfectly okay with this. But should we be? And I want to pause here because the solution seems easy, or at least it's easy to say. Stop buying stuff, buy less, reuse, recycle, repair. These are all fine ideas, and while I'm perfectly happy to advocate for them, I know that no sermon will ever be enough to impact either capitalism or consumerism, much less the power of 21st century targeted advertising. I get that. Also, I'm not trying to Grinch up Christmas. When I was a kid, my mom put mountains of stuff under the Christmas tree. Mountains. And she loved being able to do that for us. And when times were tight, she'd break up 6 packs of tube socks just so that we'd have more things to unwrap. It was sweet. And now all 3 of us kids have this thing in our heads that says that Christmas means mountains of stuff. Some of the gifts I give mean gifts I give and get, actually. They mean nothing. I'm just not sure how much nostalgia one can ever attach to a chapstick or a pair of boxer shorts. But there are other gifts. A framed picture of my mother as a young woman. The last jacket she ever gave me. A baseball glove my dad gave me. A paperweight that belonged to my grandmother. A rugby shirt, much too small, but it was given to me by a college friend. The 500 books that I bought this year alone. With all due respect to Marie Kondo, my book collection will follow me forever. But there's other stuff, and that stuff matters. And it matters because memory matters. That old sweater isn't just fabric. It's the hug of someone you've lost. That cracked mug isn't just ceramic. It's the laughter of mornings long gone. Stuff connects us to people, places, and times we loved and don't want to lose. Letting go of stuff feels like letting go of ourselves. It feels like a small death. And I get that, too. When I opened that box of miscellaneous important things, I wasn't just finding junk. I was finding pieces of my past self, fragments of who I used to be. That manual for that long-gone toaster was from my first apartment. When I was learning to be an adult, those broken picture frames once held moments I clearly thought were worth preserving. This, in part, is why capitalism works so brilliantly. It taps into this innate desire we have for community, for connection, enshrined in memory. And it tells us, buy this, and you'll feel that feeling again. Modern marketing works because it doesn't just sell products. It sells emotions, history, time travel. That jewelry commercial isn't about diamonds. It's about love that lasts forever. That car ad isn't about transportation. It's about freedom. We're not just buying the thing. We're buying the feeling we hope it will bring. And we love buying hope. So how do we navigate this? How do we honor memory without drowning in stuff? How do we celebrate history without burying neighbors in trash? Unitarian Universalism does speak to this. Our first principle affirms the inherent worth and dignity of every person, not just those who can afford the latest iPhone. Our seventh principle reminds us of our interdependence with all existence, even that part we don't travel to. And it tells us that every purchase, every disposal, every decision we make ripples through the web of life. Buddhism offers a similar perspective. The Buddha taught that attachment leads to suffering, not because things don't matter, but more because when we grasp too tightly at our stuff, we miss the gift that matters most, the present. Vietnamese Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh put it this way. He said, quote, "The present moment contains past and future. The secret of transformation is in the way we handle this very moment." What we're taught is that the only time we have to transform, to change, to grow is the present. And that's why it's a gift that cannot be overvalued. Your fear of missing out will lead you to missing out. This dialogue between Buddhist non-attachment and Christian Advent waiting, it's fascinating. Both traditions recognize that we're waiting for something deeper than material satisfaction. The Buddhist waits in mindful presence. The Christian waits in hopeful anticipation. Both remind us that the present moment, this very breath, this very gathering, is sacred. So how do we take this? How do we transform it? How do we look at it like it's a practice, something we can do? How do we live these values in a world that's constantly trying to sell us the opposite? First, we can practice a little patience, just a little patience. If we're buying something over the internet, the documentary Buy Now, which you can stream from Netflix, it suggests something very simple. Leave your purchases in your online shopping cart for at least 24 hours. Leave it in your shopping cart for 24 hours. If you still want it after that point, fine. But give yourself time to distance yourself from that first buying impulse. And if you find yourself later with doubt, say no. A corollary to that. Maybe Amazon isn't the only online retailer you can shop. Bookshop.org, for example, is a network of local bookstores across the country. Their selection is just as complete as Amazon, at least for books. And you can get all of the dopamine gratification you want without contributing to a corporation that burns or dumps most of its unsold products. Next, we can visit and revisit this idea of generosity. As we discussed 2 weeks ago, generosity should not be measured in dollars spent or presents wrapped. Generosity is better measured in intention and attention, in presence offered and received, in time shared. A handwritten letter should mean more than a cheap gadget or a novelty t-shirt, assuming we're not talking about a toddler. That's fine. And for tweens and teens, a one-on-one conversation over a shared meal gets remembered far longer than an addition to their endless stream of hoodies and pajama pants. Third, I love the idea of creating new traditions. Instead of Black Friday shopping, what if we had a holiday day of service? We do this in May, but why not do it in December? We could all wear reindeer hats to the Northern Illinois Food Bank. Or maybe instead of buying new decorations, what if we just gathered in the common room and made them? Instead of stressing out about perfect gifts, what would it be like if we focused on perfect moments? Just some suggestions. But if you want to reflect with me, pause in that eye of your seasonal maelstrom and remind yourself that true joy doesn't come from stuff. It comes from connection, from love, from moments shared. So this season, what if we paused and asked, what is it that brings me true joy? And how can I share that with others? This intention, this awareness, this deliberate choice for joy here in this season of our discontent, this isn't just nice, it's survival. If we do nothing else this holiday season, this particular holiday season, we must seek out ways, times, and places to create a little more joy. We must do this as if our health, our survival, our very future depends on it. Because January is coming, and we may need these memories of light. My friends, every Advent season is a time of waiting and reflection, and we are called to ask ourselves, what are we waiting for? This year, I want to suggest it is not more stuff. It's more than that. And I want to suggest that what we are all waiting for are actually the same things: for hope, for meaning, for deeper connection. And so, as we celebrate, as we move deeper into winter, let's seek out these things as part of our preparation for the year ahead. Let's create joy. Let's make little candles out of the joy of this season and just carry them forward for as long as we can. Let that light fill us, warm us, lift us, sustain us. Let us remember that true joy isn't bought, it's chosen, it's shared, it's lived. And if you're tempted to overdo it this year, remember all of that stuff. You have to pack it the next time you move. As for me, 15 tons is enough archaeology for one lifetime. Amen, and blessed be.
Visit us at UUSG.org.